Hey there, this is Thad from Hidden Treasure, and I am prepping for the microgreens to be planted tomorrow. So I'm super stoked about that. I've never done microgreens before, but started noticing them online, looking at them, and saw that they are easy to grow and tasty and healthy. So figured, hey, let's give it a shot. So I saw a guy online as I was searching for different ways to different kind of soil mixes. I mean, there's a gazillion different thoughts of schools of thought on that. So what I went ahead and decided to do, and this is just because I like to garden also, the gentleman was talking about how the seeds aren't even in a state when they get harvested where they are needing nutrients from the soil. And I kind of agreed with him on that. So he just simply uses peat moss. So, because it's fluffy, very aerated, and it absorbs water, which is good because that's what these guys need. So I built this for my worms, so I could separate my worms from the castings, and it works fine. So this is 1/4 inch mesh, steel mesh, and I just go back and forth on this, and I am left with, it's hard to do with one hand, let's go back and forth, hit it occasionally, tap it through. I have a bucket underneath that everything is falling into, and I am left with the bigger chunks. And so I just take the bigger chunks and I stick them in my bin right there. And then I am left with very, very fine peat moss. So I'm going to finish doing this, and then tomorrow, whenever my other seed trays come, I will disinfect them, I guess you will call it, sterilize them with the bleach water mix, and then I will begin. I have some seeds in the house right over there, which I'm totally excited to use. This is going to be so much fun. And yay! So tomorrow, video continues. Bye. Okay, so I got my 10 new trays from Amazon today. So I am cleaning these with the bleach water mixture. For every 1 gallon of water, it's 1 tablespoon of bleach. So these are going to be, I'm going to put these outside to dry, and then tomorrow morning I am going to start with my seeds. So I'll start the video up again there. So just because I saw another person who was asking about how to dry these the most effective way, so what I went ahead and did was I created more of a steeple method, and I put a couple bricks in the center, and this goes 3, 1, 2, 3, and I did on both sides, and then I put 2 more right there, and this allows for the air to circulate underneath as well to help dry these things. And then I just weight them down with a couple of stakes, wooden stakes. Don't want to use bricks because those are a little too heavy, and these are fragile. So, but yeah, this is how I'm going to dry them, and then I'll come back out here probably in the next hour or so and see if they're all the way dry. All right, just wanted to show you this real quick. All right, good morning. Today is Wednesday, so today is the day we're going to plant, or we're going to set these trays up. Okay, so I have all of my supplies here. Number 1, seeds. Number 2, tray. I have a total of 11 trays, so I'll be doing 10 trays total. Scale, and that helps. I've been learning, just okay, bear in mind this is my very first time to ever plant microgreens. So I've watched a lot of videos on how to do it, and this is a combination of what I've learned so far. So we'll see what happens. A scale, this helps to be able to measure the density. And by density, I mean when this grows, will there be a lot of bare spots, so a lot of blank spots in there, or is it going to look like a full forest of microgreens? So that's what I mean by density. So if you weigh how much seed you put on your scale, and whatever that number is, and whenever these grow and you see, oh, this is really full or it's not so full, you know you can adjust the density, either subtract some or add some seeds to your scale to get more yield, which is product, more growing from the tray. So here are my other 10 trays. One of them will go on top, Here is my press plate, which you'll see I'm going to use when I put my mix. Actually, it's not really a mix, it's just peat moss. When I put the peat moss in the tray, I will use this to press down to give the roots a firmer bed. And of course, just a scoop to be able to put that in. So the reason I'm using peat moss is because I've watched several videos, and one of them was talking about how these seeds, a microgreen is just a plant that has not hit its true leaves yet, which means that as a plant grows, it puts off two leaves, which are basically its baby leaves, I guess. And then the next set of leaves are typically called the true leaves, which is when a plant goes into photosynthesis, when it starts actually absorbing nutrients from the bed it's laying in, aka soil, and from the sun, and that's when it actually starts needing nutrients from the bed. So microgreen, from what I've learned and the extremely little that I know, it doesn't require any nutrients because everything it's getting is coming from the seed. So the peat moss is good because it's incredibly fluffy. I mean, look how fluffy this is. I mean, I strained this through a 1/4 inch grade, which is this little dude, 1/4 inch. Take out all of the big chunks. So these were all the big chunks that were in there. I took all of those out so that this is really aerated, aka meaning it's got a lot of air that can go through it, very soft and easy for roots to be able to go through it. And peat moss is very popular in gardening because it lets you absorb, well, it absorbs moisture so that when everything is put in here, it won't dry out as easily. So the first step we're going to do is we're going to put enough of the peat moss into the tray to where it's probably about a 1/4 inch down from the top of the lip. The reason for that is because whenever you harvest these, whenever you cut them, you want to be able to just simply cut it from the top, because you don't want to have to go into it to cut it. You want to be able to cut it close to the flush to the top as possible. So next time I do this, I hope to have a tripod. This is not, I tried to make a DIY tripod and it just didn't work very well. So I'm just going to kind of start memorizing how much of this I need. Oh, and I'm sure you saw earlier, I did sterilize these, which is at the beginning of this video. So I'll be right back. Okay, making sure I'm recording. Alright, so I just stuck a bunch of peat moss. I would say it was probably about 5 full scoops of that into here. I have not pressed it down yet. So now I'm going to take, I made this just out of plywood and glued a couple 2x4s to it for handles. So now I'm just going to press down. You can see it kind of goes down a bit. Press down, and this will give it a very nice voila. Now it looks actually quite pretty. And it's very firm also. So technically I should have done this out in the other side of the backyard because I don't have any water right here. So I'm going to pause this and move all my supplies over to the other table in the backyard. That way I have access to water. All the fun of doing this for the very first time. Probably should have just done it without recording, but what's the fun in that? Alright, now we're in the backyard. Better lighting anyway, so it works out nicely. So here you can much better see how flat this is from the press plate. So I ordered these seeds on Amazon because at the time I knew nothing about what I wanted, what I needed, or anything. I just got a pack that was inexpensive and gave a variety. So that's basically what this is. It's everything from alfalfa and red clover to broccoli to more clover to some lentils to green peas, salad mix. So it's just a big variety of a whole bunch of stuff. So I chose 10, 12 came in the pack, and I chose 10 because I have 11 trays. And so I'm going to start, and I'm going to measure. I guess I can use the exact same one of these. So basically what I'm going to do, because I don't want to keep holding the phone, not ideal, I'm going to weigh, which I did, get the container here, and that'll tell me how much that weighs. And then I will put, actually, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and put, this is probably good for one tray, I'm going to guess. So I'm going to just measure, because I don't know if I'll be ordering these kind of seeds again. After watching a lot of videos, I'm learning what are the more popular microgreens to grow. So I'll put a link down there to that video in case anyone ever watches this one and need to be led to some better education than a first-time newbie. So, well, just for example, this one is 0.222. The container is 0.78. So the 0.2222 minus the 0.78 will be the density. So then what I would do is I would take all these seeds and I would spread them out as evenly as possible. So let me go ahead and do that part, that way I'm not boring you with all this. Okay, so the first one that we're going to plant is going to be certified organic broccoli and certified organic alfalfa. That's going to be the first one. And something I forgot to mention, it is a good thing to label your trays, that way you know what it is that you're growing. Not fun to try to guess on that. So I'm going to stop the video for a second, and then I'm going to pour this out, an even spread, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Okay, so I am done spreading them everywhere. I think I may have gone a little too dense on this, but we'll see. You don't really want your seeds to overlap. You want everyone to basically be shoulder to shoulder, front and back, but nobody on top of each other. So we shall see how this works. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a watering, and then I will do the next tray, and then I will stack them. And that's pretty much how this works. So I'll be right back. Okay, so something I was learning from a video, I think his name was Curtis, I gotta double check, but you notice this, oh, hang on. See that? See everything moving? See, well, a little bit windy out here, but see how that tends to disturb everything it hits? You don't want to disturb the seeds that you've laid. So I was told, or I saw in the video, that you set this from shower to mist, and then see, you have water coming out, but it's not disturbing what you have planted. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. Now I do not have, so you can see everything's getting watered, but nothing is getting disturbed, and it's getting wet. See, everything is wet. Now, on the video, this guy, he has a much more powerful version of this. See, none of the seeds are actually moving, which is exactly what I want. Now, I do not have drain holes in the bottom of this. For my first time on doing this, I decided I'm just going to be simple, just go for it to see what happens. If need be, I will drill some holes. And on Amazon, I bought these, and they were, how much was it? $26 for 10 trays. I found another through another video, Greenhouse Megastore. I'll put a link in the description, and you get them for $1.50. The shipping was still $10, but it was only $22 total, which is still $4 less expensive. I haven't checked on how long it takes to get to me on Amazon. I have Prime, so it's fast, 2 days, and I'm a bit of an eager beaver. So, but yeah. So I'm just going to give this a bit of a soaking, let the peat moss soak up all this water, and then we will go on to the next tray, and I'll come back whenever all the trays are ready to be stacked. Okay, thanks. So one thing I wanted to show real quick, not all microgreen seeds are tiny. This is my hand, this is my fingernail, and some of these are pretty large. So in this particular group, this is the Saul's High Protein Bean Mix. So it has garbanzo and mung and French lentil. I'm not 100% sure which one of those is which, but Yeah, so these will be spread out a little bit thinner because it looks like they're going to grow a little thicker. So something I went ahead and did because it was easy, a lot of the big ones were kind of clumped together. So I went ahead and just separated them a little bit more, spread them out so that way when these things grow, they'll have a little bit more, they'll be spread out, not so in a consistent area. You can see I probably clumped a little bit too much right here, didn't do enough right there, a little too much there, but you know, first timer, so things you'll learn. So, okay. So with this one, instead of going all the way up to here, I'm just gonna play around, plus I'm running out of peat moss. And still have several of these to go. I only did 3 spoons. So it's up to right about here. So I don't think it'll be a problem. So we'll see how this one, we'll do the rest of them at this height. Okay, so something I just learned with the alfalfa, clover, broccoli, radish mix, these small seeds, if everything's not perfectly level, you're gonna notice here that it looks like everything is kind of grouped into the center. Whenever the water started ponding right here, when I was giving it a spray, and then that wasn't a big issue. But whenever I brought it from back there to over here, all these little seeds started shifting around everywhere. So I'm learning now, it is better to let it sit before you move it. That way the seeds don't move around everywhere. See, these are fine. So, just a good thing to note. Okay, so I ended up running out of peat moss, so I was able to do 6 of these instead of all 10, which I think is probably pretty good because this is a lot to eat and to share. So I'm going to go ahead and stack them now. Now the reason for the stacking, because when I first heard about stacking, I thought it was kind of a weird concept. So what happens is the bottom of the tray sits, now 2 schools of thought on this, which I actually prefer the second, is that this just rests on top of whatever is in here. So it actually kind of does remove any air that gets through. And one thing I've seen on some of the Facebook groups is that people complain about mold happening occasionally. And so to prevent that, there's actually another kind of tray out there that has a little bit of a lip to it that gives just a little bit of space between the plastic underneath and the top of this whatever's in here, so that way you don't run into that possible mold issue. It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes I'm told it does, especially depending on how much water you put. And then the second, the positive to the stacking is that it lets the seeds, as they are rooting, it forces them to push up on whatever's on top of them, and that creates stronger roots, in turn creates a stronger microgreen, which is healthier, obviously will taste better, and will grow better. So that is the whole purpose in that. So I'm going to literally just stack these on top of each other and be right back. Alright, we are done. So all the trays are stacked, and now we just wait. And then once they are starting to show some sprouting, then I will place them under lights, which is something I have to solve because I only have so many. So, and what I end up doing as far as identifying which tray is what, I just went simple this round and just put a number on the bag. So counting from 1 and up is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that kind of thing. Makes it simple for this first go round. And I just went ahead and, like I said, used the entire bag. The bricks are on top to add some additional weight, which I saw in another video, which again lets the plant have a stronger root. So we shall see. I'll put another video up for the update. I don't know if anyone would learn anything from this whole thing. I'm sure we all can learn. First time ever doing this, so I'm sure this is not going to come out perfect at all, but I'm excited about it. It's going to be fun, and I'm sure it'll be tasty. So I'm looking forward to this. So yay, thanks for watching.